Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. And as always, thank you to all of you who like to call our everydayers right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, because as we like to say, it's your team every day. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to the show. Like it on YouTube here. I'm pointing down right where you click that like button. And make sure you subscribe, rate, and review it if you're watching this or listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave us a note. We appreciate any and all feedback we get, even in the YouTube comments. No matter how you guys support the show, it's much, much appreciated. All right. So we just talked about what the future for the BYU football program could be after this month. Well, what is the future in the immediate future for BYU football hold? Well, according to the SP Plus numbers, BYU's in line to be fairly competitive in 2025. And I think we all kind of expected that, and obviously got a little bit of a wrench thrown into it with the undetermined situation with Jake Retzlaff. And any of you are coming to today's show wanting for an update on it, it's pretty quiet. And I think it'll remain quiet for a little while here, if not maybe all summer. And that's unfortunate. I think the next time you may get a comment on it of any variety, it'd probably be a no comment, but a comment would be at the annual BYU Media Golf event that Kalani Sitake hosts at the end of this month. I think it's the final week of the month. And that may be the first time. And maybe even then, you don't get anything. We don't hear anything really till training camp. But beyond that, what do the metrics say out there for BYU football? And these are hard numbers. Now, if you don't know who Bill Connelly is, he is one of the foremost experts when it comes to analytics in college football. He has pioneered a whole lot of digging into numbers and trying to essentially do math to prognosticate how college football is going to go. Now, that sounds super nerdy, and it is super nerdy, but the nice part is his numbers, more often than not, tell a pretty strong or give a pretty strong indication of what the future holds, at least for an upcoming season. Now, in BYU's post-spring SP Plus rankings, the Cougars are ranked 27th overall. Now, the SP Plus numbers are essentially trying to tell what the future is going to be. So they believe right now that BYU is just outside the top 25 if the season were played out and these numbers held true. They have an 11.5 rating, including a 29 ranking on offense, number 30 on defense, and number 10 on special teams. So they're pretty balanced across the board, offensively and defensively, and obviously their special teams. It was elite last year. There's no doubt about it. And even losing a guy the caliber of Keelan Marion, apparently those numbers have not been affected too much here. Where does BYU check in the Big 12 with that 27th overall ranking? Well, it has them fourth. The top-rated team is Kansas State at number 18, which is a little bit concerning because we have talked a lot about needing a Big 12 team to really emerge among the nation's elite. Well, that's not what that says right there, because that has Kansas State number 18, defending champion Arizona State's number 22, and then Texas Tech is one spot in front of BYU at number 26. If you look at the overall Big 12 rankings and these SP Plus figures, the Big 12 is actually pretty balanced. Number 18 is the high for Kansas State. The low is number 66 Cincinnati. So they're all top 70 across the board. And in the top tier, if you want to call it that for BYU, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Half of the league is between number 18 and number 35, where you find the Baylor Bears. If you're wondering about Utah as BYU's arch rival, they're 4 spots behind the Cougars at number 31. And I think that the numbers here are matching up with the odds makers out there, including our friends at FanDuel, who believe that half of the league, the top half of the league, have over-under win totals of 7.5 or 8.5 wins. Now, there's some other out there who have pushed them as high as 9.5. I think for Texas Tech has got a 9.5 on some other books. But simply put, the metrics, the odds makers, they believe that this league, speaking of the Big 12, is going to cannibalize itself at the top of the league if what these numbers say are true. What are the chances that BYU can emerge from the fray? Well, number one, you need to know about the Jake Retzlaff, what his status is going to be to really prognosticate that fully. But at the same time, that means that this could be anybody's game in the Big 12 conference. Could it hurt them in the college football playoff chase? Absolutely it could, because once again, these are projecting what they think the top 25 is going to be. And at number 18, to have your top rated team there, that means that you are not necessarily considered to be among the nation's elite. And that's a concern, because that means that you have a league out there, speaking of the Big 12, that might be panned a little bit by some of those, talking heads that are a little more influenced by some of the conferences, most notably the SEC and the Big 10. Now, to back this up here, it says the Big 12 has half of the Big 12's teams are in the top 35, but That's behind the SEC, which has 12 in the top 35, and the Big Ten that has 9. The other thing is there are 10 SEC teams ranked ahead of the first Big 12 team. The Big Ten has 4, and the ACC has 2. So if you're going by the numbers, the SEC, according to SP Plus, is supposed to be pretty elite this year. But I think that obviously could be flipped on its head in a way, because I think the Big 12, with as balanced of a league as it is, it could emerge as a stronger league by having maybe one team, if it were to become that supernova, just really take off, they'd emerge from a pretty strong top to bottom league. Whereas you look at some of the others outside of the SEC, the Big Ten's only got 4 in front of the Big 12. That means that you have programs out there that are dragging these other conferences down, and that could help the Big 12 have a leg up. I know that sounds counterintuitive to maybe some of you, but I really do think that the balance of the Big 12 here is going to benefit it in the long run, even if it may take a hit in the short run. Let me kind of try and restate that in a way that's saying that even if the Big 12 right now, yeah, we do have maybe the champion, maybe scrapes its way to 10 wins. Maybe they're 10-3. They're 9-3 out of the regular season, but they go 10-3 with a Big 12 conference championship win. They're going to find themselves in the in the college football playoff, maybe as the lone representative from the league. But in time, I think as the Big 12 continues to kind of really beat up on each other and they kind of level each other up in a way, that over time, maybe the Big 12's depth and the breadth of the strength of the league could benefit itself. And maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, you have 2 or 3 teams that emerge and they become elite teams and they're competing more favorably on a national level. It may not happen this year, and I hope it does. I'll be very blunt. I want to see at least 2 teams from the Big 12 make the playoff this year. It was cool to see Arizona State go toe-to-toe with Texas last year, but to only have one representative in the playoff didn't sit well with me. And you'd want, obviously, to avoid the talking heads out there saying, see, the SEC is great, the Big Ten's great. That's all we really need in this sport. No. We want to see teams emerge, and BYU has that opportunity. With or without Jake Retzlaff, the metrics say that BYU should be fairly strong. Now, I'd like to ask Bill Connelly. I may send him an email because I've had some interaction with him in the past. I may see if he has a feel for how the numbers may pan out if Jake Retzlaff is available versus if he's not. And I am interested to see if that could change things. But the bigger point is that these numbers sure feel like BYU is right there among the best in the Big 12. But at the same time, the Big 12 could be pretty topsy-turvy along the way. That would be the very interesting part about this, to see where things ultimately pan out. And if these numbers hold true and the Big 12 is pretty balanced, or if we do see a team, maybe it's an Arizona State, maybe it's Texas Tech, heck, maybe it's BYU, they come to the forefront. That'd be fun to see, but only time will tell if that is right, or if what I am thinking in my head is just complete baloney. And well, time will tell. We're now 89 days away from BYU kicking off the season. I think we're 82 days away from week 0 action. That would include Farmageddon being played over in Dublin with Iowa State and Kansas State squaring off. So it's not far off, folks. Get ready for it. And the numbers say we should be in for a fairly entertaining Big 12 season that BYU is right in the mix of as one of the top contenders among the bunch. All right, coming up next, we'll finish up today's show on the basketball front. Kevin Young made a very interesting comment to Mitch Harper at Big 12 spring meetings over last week, and I wanted to latch on to one part of it. I think they could show what last year meant for the BYU basketball program because of a late addition, and what maybe BYU might be thinking with another roster slot still available for the Cougars, and we'll get into that next as we roll on right here on Locked On Cougars.